Game Clique.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to Game Clique, the blackest video game discussion in the industry. That was the second take. That was the second take. I'm keeping that one. We're gonna keep that one. I'm your boy.
Join our soon to be announced Patreon for that first take. It's just zero.
I'm your boy, the CharmCityChamp, and as always, I'm joined by the Duke of Games.
What is goody, people? I am very, very happy to be here. You know?
And we're switching things up. Our special guest is actually going to be in here the whole show, and you know we gotta play it up. We gotta do it big for the king of FGC in Baltimore. What? Claim it.
I'll take it.
Speak it into existence.
I'll take it.
Hinokaga.
What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? Happy to be here again. Second time.
Hell yeah.
Second time? Yeah. Wow. I don't know. You know, we've been working together for so long in different aspects that it's hard to believe it's only second time on this one. But
yeah, this carnation of the
carnation of things. But, yeah.
But y'all, stay tuned because I know what y'all here for. We're gonna do a really quick, well, not really quick. We're gonna do a full deep dive into Spider-Man 2, the only first-party PlayStation game of 2023, but some would say one of the biggest games of the year. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in a weird place.
Yeah. But we're gonna get to that.
It's not gonna win Game of the Year, but
we're gonna get that. We're gonna get that. Stay tuned, though. Do not go anywhere. But first, we like to give some praise to all of you that were hyper interactive with us. Last episode, Duke's gonna read some of the comments y'all left on YouTube and all other platforms. Duke, take it away.
Yes. So one, I want to give a major shout out to this time. I actually have the live chat replay up, and I've always been wanting to share comments directly from there. One, I just want to give a shout out to our live chat. We had Pride Tunes, aka Afro Lion, in the chat. We had Ingo Namia. I do not know how to pronounce your name. You gotta send me the phonetic spelling of this, so please. I would like you are a real G. You've been with us since the beginning, and I want to pronounce your name correctly every time. We got Sigrid, who was in the chat, and let's see here. Someone named Yipper99. Thank you so much for coming through. And I saw one that I really wanted to take the time to read. We got someone by the name of Breaking Ground. They said, this was very good info, and I'm definitely no gamer, but I enjoy playing and hearing about video games. That's what this is all about. I'm always going to be one of the people that like recommend that you find time to play games and do things that you enjoy, but sometimes I have it. And I think it's important to still check in with things that you like every now and then. So we had BC Joe Black. They said, excellent listening now is finishing up the remix morning show and they missed this. Damn you BPM for having too many good shows. We got BGIV 2010 said, this is your random reminder that the word villain, there was a moment in last episode where we talked about how like we just all love the villain for some reason. It doesn't matter. But they decided to give us some history here. They said the word villain comes from villain, which essentially means a free person who lives on the land, aka a villager. Over time, the aristocrats used it. I just butchered that. You're going to deal with it. Used it to cast anyone who isn't a wealthy land-owning lord as untrustworthy and wicked. Maybe that's why we relate to villains. Who knows? Listen, I didn't know that history, and I'm going to spend some time after this show to look that up. But if that is the case, goddamn white people. Makes sense to me. So, that is our comment read for last episode. Thank you so much for coming through and tuning in. And if you don't know, every single time that we upload this, we have a live chat going on where me and Champ are in the comments talking to you. Last time we talked about Popeyes and getting certain biscuit orders together. It was nice. It was lovely.
Yeah. Please join us for those live watch parties Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be there. Duke's going to be there. He was probably going to be there too.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah. Make sure you're there. It's going to be cool. So next up is a segment we do every episode. What have you been playing?
Yes.
And I think I'm going to start with me because I think out of the three of us, I think I'm playing like the big boy. The big boy.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying.
Yours doesn't have a record 7.6 million players, but you know.
Well, I didn't come with
Okay,
this.
Mr. We're the game of the year
Maybe.
the discussion.
You know, I
2
mean,
months away from the awards. Whatever you say.
I'm playing Alan Wake 2.
yes.
Yeah, man. So I'm a little biased because I'm a big fan of not just Alan Wake as a franchise, but Remedy and all of their work. For people who aren't familiar, Remedy started out as a small team within Rockstar, and they're actually responsible for Max Payne 1 and 2. And then they broke off from Rockstar, created their own dev company, Remedy, and debuted with Alan Wake, which was, I'm partial to the Spooky Duke, the horror games. I love.
I enjoy them.
Yeah,
They're enjoyable. Yeah.
Every game, especially Alan Wake.
yeah.
The original.
I mean, Alan Wake was highly and critically acclaimed. I was always mad as a Sony fanboy because I didn't have the chance to play it until very, very recently. And it still blows me away playing it, the remaster version.
Yeah, so the remaster is probably the way to go because Alan Wake, I did play it again because I played it first when it first came out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Sounds about right. But yeah, I played the original recently, and while it's still good, it still holds up. Some of it, like some of the aspects of it, doesn't really age well, like mainly the controls. And I think they tightened those up for the remaster. I didn't play the remaster personally, but
So I did play the remaster.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't play the original, so I have nothing compared to. But I didn't have issues with the control.
okay.
Yeah. Like I remember the original. I actually don't remember the controls for the original at all. Like, I remember playing a remake like recently because I streamed it like last Halloween, I think. And like it felt controls felt great. Like no issue to it. So like if they did change it, kudos to them.
Yeah. So they made Alan Wake, then they made Quantum Break. No, Quantum Break.
Right.
Yeah.
Quantum Break.
It was
another Xbox exclusive, which was tied with a TV show.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah. We don't speak of the TV show. But the game's fine.
Let's give it the full lore.
Control, to me, that was a banger. I know, Duke, you're not really too hot on it. I know.
I did. You keep saying that. Listen,
you told me.
So I think you missed it.
Okay.
But for clarity, I think Control is a good game. I guess what you said makes sense. I think Control is a good game. I just don't think it's entertaining enough for me to stick with it all the way through. I think that's where I'm at with it. I don't know what I would need. I feel like some of the repetitive nature of it could be toned down a little bit in order for me to get to the next story plot point, maybe. But yeah, I love the movement. I think I enjoy systems of the game, just not as a collective.
I think the big part of Control to me, and I'm gonna get to my point because I know I'm like kind of getting off track. The big selling point of Control to me is the presentation, like the big bold fonts, the cameras, the cutscenes, and stuff like that. And I'll bring that up because Alan Wake 2 is like the perfect marriage of all the lessons that Remedy has learned along the way. Because it has the presentation of Control. It still has that spooky environment that the original Alan Wake had. And okay, so here's my theory with Alan Wake 2. In a world in a like 2023 gaming, where everybody is like trying to copy the last hot thing. Everybody wants to be either Fortnite, or everybody wants to be Destiny, or everybody wants to be Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? It feels like the people who made Alan Wake 2, it was like after they made Alan Wake 1, they shut themselves in a bunker, and they didn't come out for 10 years. And then they popped up, and they made Alan Wake 2 with like no interference or influence of anything that has been made in video games for the past 10 years.
Okay, now you scare me a little bit.
There's a
Shenmue 3 did the same thing. Okay.
but
Shenmue said no innovation happened.
so I say that in a good way. So the reason why I say that is because the gameplay to me is very it feels a lot like the old school horror games, like a Resident Evil 2, like a Silent Hill 2, stuff like that. Very close, over the shoulder, third person. The control, I don't want to say the controls. The movement is a little sluggish by design because they want to create moments where you're overwhelmed and it's scary. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's there. And I think that might be a little frustrating for people who aren't used to that type of horror game.
Okay. Right.
But that is like,
But I feel like people who like horror games, that's not an issue.
Exactly.
You're used to that. Like, there's got to be some kind of hint.
exactly. You can't be overpowered or else why would you be scared?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that is my only gripe. Besides that, like Alan Wake 2, from the story, from the presentation, to the graphics, to the gameplay, it's amazing. So let me get it. So they changed up a little bit. You play as Alan Wake, but you also play as this new character, a black FBI agent named Saga. And who this actress, Melanie LaBerge, is amazing. Like I'm voting for her.
So she's nominated. Yeah, she got
Yeah.
nominated for VGAs for performance.
Best performance. I'm voting for her. I'm rooting for everybody black. So if you know, go to
Only
the.
way to vote.
I mean, she's going up against Idris Elba, so hopefully she comes out on top. But anyway,
I think she got that.
nah.
I'm voting for either one, like
Yeah.
Idris or her.
Yeah.
Fine with me.
I mean, the whole thing's pretty stacked. It's not just them, but whatever. So
Yes, it is. That's it. It's just her. So what are you referring?
So they both offer different kind of changes in the gameplay. So
Okay.
with Saga, her part of the game is like a detective game where you're going around, you're still doing the traditional hitting bad guys with flashlights and then shooting them in the weak spots to get rid of them. But what she's also doing is she's trying to solve this mystery of why everything's kind of like going to shit around Alan Wake. So you're going around, you're picking up clues, you're interrogating people, and you kind of like have this what is it called, the little cork board where they have the yarn like conspiracy theorists do, and they connect things.
Yeah, I mean,
I know what you're saying. I don't know what it's
Yeah,
called.
but I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Well, she has one of those, and like you
Criminal Minds be like the unsub.
so you're constantly like trying to put this together, and the game does a good job because when it comes to detective games like that, it gets a little frustrating sometimes to find the right answer, but the game does a good job of guiding you.
Arkham City, Arkham Knight did it so well.
Yes, that is a good comparison, right? So like this game kind of does the same thing where you feel like you're smart.
And I'll tell you the horror one too, because the horror one's LA Noir. They tried to do
Yes.
that in LA Noir, and it
Yeah.
just didn't quite hit.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this one does a good job of letting you solve the crime, making you feel like Sherlock Holmes, but you're really like just kind of like playing along. But that was an interesting twist to the Alan Wake, the traditional way Alan Wake normally plays. And they changed up the way Alan Wake plays as well. So with him, he's not in the real world. He's in a kind of like alternate version of the real world called the Dark Place. And that is just like Alan Wake 1.
Does he have powers yet? Like he should.
Sort of, right? So
Okay.
remember, like in Alan Wake 1, how far did you get in Alan Wake 1 before I say
It
that?
was pretty far. Like I think I'm like on episode 4.
Okay, it's not a spoiler, but like he finds out that his writing is what influences the Dark Place.
Yeah, you find that out at the very beginning.
Well, right. So
that's the entire premise of the thing.
in Alan Wake 2, he kind of learned how to control that a little more. So you'll get to these parts of the Dark Place that are considered scenes, and you'll have certain ideas that are given to you based on how you explore, and you can use those ideas to change the book, and that will change the scene. So like you go into a scene and like it's influenced by one idea, but once you do another idea, a door that was shut will then be opened. Or
So I
Yeah.
have one question for you. So
Mhm.
writing in general has this issue where we shoehorn Black characters into plots, and I was just slightly
Mhm.
taken aback because I knew the whole premise of Alan Wake,
Mhm.
and everyone cares about Alan Wake.
Mhm.
Why is Saga here? Did you like figure that out, or?
So I don't think this is a spoiler, but
Mhm.
so Alan Wake discovers that he's still in the dark place. So at the end of Alan Wake 1, like it's kind of the ending of Alan Wake 1 is kind of amalgamous, like you don't really know what's happened. But Alan Wake is still in the dark place since part 1, and he's trying to find somebody who can save him. So he finds out who Saga is because he can kind of see glimpses of the real world, even though he's in the dark place. So he writes Saga into the story to get her pulled in.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So she.
In my head canon, so racism. Got it. He just like, this Black woman does mind her business, and he
She
like,
really
"Hey,
was.
save me."
She really was.
You better than me because I'm like Black people always saving everybody anyway, so might as well like.
Alrighty.
So I will touch on that because you bring up a good point about like kind of like race swapping and stuff like that. I don't.
Anybody have been in her role?
And it sets up the characters to be criticized unfairly. In addition to that, with like their fanboys and things like that. I mean, people play Alan Wake for Alan Wake.
Yeah. So kind of not a spoiler. You do find this out a little later in the game, but I don't think that this isn't an important factor to the story itself. Saga finds out that her relatives, she has a side of her family that's Norwegian, that's white. And like she actually bumps into her family, and like her family is like white. Like direct relatives. So it kind of struck me like, this is not me saying like I'm not into like interbreeding or anything like that, but
It sounds more like a political thing to.
yeah. It just seems like
Yeah,
they
it
made
sounds
her
like- yeah.
black, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm alluding to.
Right. Yeah, it's a political thing. I get it. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a video. I mean, it's made by white people. It's white people politics. It makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But it's a good game. Good.
It is a great game. If you could, overlook that, I really think that's just a small thing. And this is just me kind of like presuming. I don't know if that is what happened. It just how it appears to me. The Alan Wake is really great. If you're looking for something atmospheric, spooky horror, Alan Wake 2 is the way to go. If it wasn't for the game that I'm not going to mention anymore because I mention it every single episode, it probably would be a lock for Game of the Year. But
I know you're so happy it's in the nominee list. Honey.
I am. I really am.
Yeah.
Because it came out so late in the year, and like horror really kind of doesn't get the respect it deserves most of the time. But we're here. We actually got 2 horror games nominated for Goldie.
That's
So
what I say. If you got RE4.
yeah.
Remake. Wonderful.
Yeah, man.
Oh. It's funny. I think as I think about it, I had set my color tone in the background for Spider-Man, really, like just having some red going on. But it also works for the game that I've been playing, which is The Finals. Did you get a chance to check it out, even on YouTube?
I did not. And that's
This
I
is
saw it.
crazy. I'm a missionary. The way that I'm a missionary for Beyonce, like, any of my friends know, like, when Beyonce just doing something, I text her and I'm like, look, this is happening. I feel like I'm going to be this way for the finals going forward because it is that dope of an FPS. Like, I'm not even one of those people that considers themselves good at first-person shooters, but I want to be good in the finals. So it just had its public beta. The beta lasted, I want to say about a little less than a week. Probably like 6 days or something, a little bit more than that, maybe. And it has 3 classes. There's light, medium, and large builds. In all of those classes, you're able to like switch and choose your loadouts. Some classes are like more specialized for healing, other ones better for barricading themselves, others for movement. Um, all the gun and weapon options in the beta were completely unbalanced. So can't really talk too much about that part. It's just a fact. Like I got a flamethrower and that would like eat your health like immediately. The only saving grace it had was that it had particularly short range. But what the goal of the game is all about getting money. That's the goal of the game is get money. You're loaded into a map. It is you and 2 other players, so teams of 3 versus, depending on the game mode, 2 to 3 other teams of 3. And your goal is to run around the map, finding money, and then going to a cash out system, and then defending the cash out until the points are banked. What makes the game dynamic is the fact that it has ultra destructive level design. So if you're defending the cash out point, right? Say for instance, you're on the 2nd floor of the building, you're defending the cash out point, and you got that shit pretty barricaded. You got poison gas, you got explosive mines. Nobody can get in there because you and your team have locked and bunkered down in there, and y'all feel like y'all winning it. Somebody else on another team can decide either I want to go to the room right below you and blow up the ceiling, aka your floor, and then the cash box falls down to their level, or someone can decide I'm going to go up to the ceiling and blow up the outer floor, aka your roof, and then drop down and take your belongings and things like that. It's a really dynamic. You got to defend yourself from all sides. There's windows everywhere. It's crazy. You can set up zip lines. You can set up jump pads. It's all kinds of things. I love it. The game is phenomenal for me. And I can't wait to host tournaments personally when it finally comes out. It's going to be free to play too. That is the other important thing to note. It is a free to play title, and one of the things that I love about it is that it is not a I forget the name of this battle royale. It's not a battle royale. I hate battle royales. Nothing against them personally. It's just because I hate the idea of like going into a map and having to find your entire loadout and then everything in that particular game session is not a void. There's progression in the finals. So you are able to purchase based on how well you do. You're able to purchase upgrades for your weapons or things, or buy different cosmetics. Your characters are completely personable. Instead of you like winning or earning skins, you earn like actual clothing items and things like that you can customize and make your character look as much as you can how you want, kind of thing. So there is blackface options. So I can be black all the time, not just because I have a certain skin.
Yeah, I was say what?
I know. I was like, let me clarify that. But there is so you can do that. They got male, female variations, and one of the things that I like about the game is we don't know too much about the lore, but the idea is that in some time in the future, human beings decide that their competitive sport is to load into a virtual world and shoot and kill each other that way. In the virtual world, so no one's actually dying or anything, and the reason why all these cosmetics exist is to promote capitalism. So all of the players are like competing, and the better you do, the more flashy cosmetic items you get, and that is supposed to like recognize like you're sponsored by like this fictional company. And it's like, oh yeah, like look at this player who just joined the field. They're decked out in the latest from so and so. So I think it's dope. But
yeah, I pulled up here. It looks like the developers, Embark Studios, they wanted to point out that the game is inspired by the Hunger Games.
Oh,
and I could definitely.
You know what? I was about to say, as I was explaining it just now, I was thinking about it in my head. The other thing to note, I didn't mention, Embark Studios is actually made by some of the former developers of Battlefield. And so I don't know too much of the history of Battlefield, Call of Duty, because those aren't really my type of games. I purchased them for friends, but it ain't my thing. But people that I
like buildings and stuff like that. That was Battlefield thing.
I was getting ready to say that from what I hear, the developers who are doing this are from the time where Battlefield was popping. So they left just before Battlefield started to fall off and created their own studio, and this is what we're getting here.
So from the beta, did you get any sense of how monetization is going to play in here?
Um, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but not a lot. So everything that I saw is just cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
So far, it's all cosmetics. So there's two types of currencies. There's a currency that you get from just playing the game,
Mm-hmm.
and that currency typically goes towards buying your different loadout options.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want different weapons or different skills to use during the matches, that's how you do it. And then the other currency, there was no way to refill it during the beta. They just gave you like a lump sum. And that appears to be what would be the premium currency. And that currency was to buy not only clothing options, but emotes, and like style backgrounds, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
in the game.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And definitely, if it's free to play, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you think it's something that definitely could like be like the next big like esports type
I
game? Like,
am super. I mean, so it's so weird. How do I put this? So one, I'm super sure. I'm super sure that it could be, but esports is in a weird spot in the sense that like there's a lot of things that could be the next big thing. It's just doesn't get the support, you know. But so far as a stable game, if they work on a balance as far as like the weapon options, the game is entertaining to watch, which is the biggest point. And I don't think it's too difficult to explain what's going on in the game either, which is another consider for esports issues. When you think about Overwatch, like you don't know what's going on in Overwatch unless you play Overwatch.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's really the case in the finals. So yeah, I think it has. I definitely think it has the potential to be the next big thing. And with it being free to play, it's there. It has all the makings of the next big thing, in my opinion, for sure.
Yeah, we shall see. It's self-published too, so no big third party getting behind this. No release date. Yeah, they were
I
aiming
know,
for.
I'm having withdrawals. I'm actually having withdrawals. I was actually a little tired because they had a battle pass for the beta,
Mhm.
and the battle pass. I didn't know the best way to grind out the battle pass in the beginning. I was doing like real quick matches,
Mhm.
and that was not the best way to do it. There is a tournament version. There's an unranked and ranked tournament mode where it's essentially the same game modes that you have in the quick play section, but they make it where in tournament you have like 3 rounds and it's knockout eliminations.
Mhm.
So in the first round, it's you versus 3 other teams, and then second round is you versus 3 other teams, and then the last round is just you versus 1 other team. I only won 1 time, technically, a tournament. So, but that was the best way to grind the battle pass.
that sounds like a really cool format, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like for ranked, like
All right, well, yeah, look out for that. The finals, whenever the hell it comes out, is going to be on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC through Steam.
Yep, indeed.
Damn, yo, I'm trying to pull up my damn ad reads and they're not pulling up. Stretch.
Unprepared. You're fucked up.
Stretch, everybody.
Listen. Oh, and by the way, I gotta tell the chat and everything. Listen, it's been a little while since we talked to y'all. I got me an Ethernet cord. So there should be no J. I paid my bill. I've always paid my bill. It's part of my credits. I've been trying to keep it all the way paid every time. Jeff been out here getting educated. That's why he been missing.
I have. I'm not.
Grow up.
I'm not.
Adult.
I'm not good enough. Never be good enough. Always think you can be better.
Here,
Yeah, man.
did you get your ad read together?
I did.
All right.
So we're here thanks to the people at Black Power Media.
It took you all that time to find it.
I was like, damn, where are we at? What channel are we on? No, I got a specific thing that I like reading.
I know.
Black Power Media is a black radical independent media project that seeks to challenge the narrative about black politics and the black condition. With shows like Game Clique, I Mix What I Like, Remix Morning Show, and other future programming, will deliver the news and information our community and others need to break through today's mainstream media and propaganda machine. So be sure, if you're not watching this live, on YouTube. Black Power Media is the exclusive home of full episodes of Game Clique. So go to their YouTube, youtube.com/@Black Power Media, period. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell, bing. So that way you don't miss any of our nice content and anything else that Black Power Media puts out. Because they put out some good stuff.
I think a grown man with a list should just like seek therapy or something. That's it. I mean, is your list. I'm sorry. It's because I got it actually in my headset right now. I'm like, oh, it is loud.
I do not believe this. I don't know what you're talking about.
See, subscribe.
And also, help us and other people at Black Power Media keep our lights on by supporting Black Power Media on Patreon, patreon.com/Black Power Media. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support shows like Game Clique, I Mix What I Like, and everything else here at Black Power Media. So go ahead and do that if you got the money.
Yeah. You know,
Do you got
you
some?
can always create the OnlyFans. So I was saying, Game Clique is actually putting out a job position. If you happen to have social media management skills, and you need two things: you need social media management skills, and two, a heavy interest in gaming, as in like you're able to keep up with gaming trends and knows what's going on. Please reach out to questions@realgameclick.com. Right, it is .com. I work in orgs a lot in my day to day.
We're not a org.
We're not an org. Questions@realgameclick.com. Let us know your interests, and we'll talk and talk about pay and see if it's a good match. We want a social media manager.
And I'm looking for a speech coach, apparently.
Hey, Harvey, he did a segment about how he got over.
I don't have a list. Stay tuned, y'all. We're gonna be
even pronounce the P.
We're going to be right back with our full deep dive of Spider-Man 2. Do not go anywhere. Don't change that dial. Or what do you say on YouTube? Don't click somewhere else. We'll be back, y'all. Stay there. Welcome back, y'all. We are back, and it is finally here. Well, it's been here for a couple of weeks now. But the wait is finally over. Spider-Man 2, Marvel's and Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 is finally here. We tried to give y'all some time.
What?
Are you trying to play it?
We got motion controls. We try to lean into the swing.
Spider-Man 2 is finally here. I wanted to give everybody like at least a month-ish. It's been out about a month, right?
It's been out enough time, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because everybody is like, people have been chasing content, and everybody's like, all right, Spider-Man spoilers, and like the game been out an hour. Chill. But like, I got kids. Relax.
But there's definitely going to be people who still didn't, but this is your warning now. If you are super sensitive to spoilers, dip out for this particular part, but keep the page up, just mute it.
Well, yeah, don't leave. We are going to, so this is going to be, like Duke has insinuated, we are going to have some spoilers in this episode. When we predict that the spoilers are going to be a little intense for people that are trying to go into the game spoiler free, we are going to put up our traditional spoiler warning in each segment. It's going to tell you what time code to come back. So just pay attention to that. Unless you're watching it live, then I'm sorry. But I think this still is going to be a good show. Spoilers or not, please stay tuned. To start this whole thing off, where are we all at in Spider-Man 2?
13% through the story.
13%.
13%. So before we even begin, I told you this offline, but I made a mistake and bought it. I didn't even plan to buy it yet. It was a mistake.
I tell my wife that too.
So I was always going to buy the game, but I'm in the midst of doing the big moves, and I wanted to save some funds, blah blah blah. But so it was in my PlayStation cart, but I was in the midst of on a phone call, and I was downloading some Final Fantasy 14 things that was free, and I wasn't paying attention. And it had asked me for my card information. I was like, "This is weird because it's like free, but you don't normally do that." And I put it in, and then all of a sudden, $90 essentially left my bank account. And it was like,
damn,
thank you for your Spider-Man 2 purchase. I was like, what?
Damn, so you got the premium joint.
Of course. I mean, it was always the goal to get the, the best version of it. But that's not.
Damn.
So I'm 13%. I took that and I was like, all right, well, I guess it's time for me to play Spider-Man 2. I had some other games on my list before that, but here we are. I'm playing the game. And it is as wonderful as we all thought it would be, right?
Best
Where
mistake.
you at? How far are you through the game?
Best mistake you made in your life. I am almost. I'm actually. I don't know the percentage, but I'm very close to the 100%. I've finished the game. I finished all the side missions. The one thing that's holding me up is finding the last few spider bots. So I'm combing the city looking for the spider bots.
Another collectible thing.
Yeah. That's literally it. That and like the little one-off trophies that they want you to do, like running the bases in the baseball field and stuff like that. So I'm like maybe like 4 trophies away from the plat.
So are you good at the combat? What difficulty are you
on? The default one. I'm not crazy.
Trash. I'm gonna know how this difficulty.
But I do like the combat. We're gonna get to that.
Yeah.
Carl, you've beaten the game too, right?
So yeah, I've beaten the game, but I got so wrapped up into the story that I didn't do a lot of the side stuff. I didn't realize that I wasn't doing a lot of the side stuff until like I was like, oh, this is the last mission. So
it does sneak up on you.
So I wound up yeah, like I said, I beat the game. I have like a bunch of like side missions to do, but I did do a couple of the really big ones that I think are the most interesting. And I played it on the regular difficulty too because like I'm enjoying the story the first time around. Like I'll go back and like New Game Plus, and then I'll do like my hard mode run, or maybe that'll be some like stream content or something.
First runs only. Wait.
Oh, that's why, because there's a New Game Plus, right? Or it's coming out?
Yeah, it's us always. Well, I don't know if it wasn't released with the game or not. But like the Spider-Man games always had New Game Plus. So
yeah, they do have them.
Oh, well, that's
I don't know if this one has it already, but yeah, they typically have them.
That's what I'm going to play the hardest difficulty. Don't judge me. That was the plan the whole time.
Actually, I think it comes with a harder difficulty like once you go to New Game Plus anyway. But I like I said, I'll have to check back on that because like I do want to do go back and do some of the side missions that I did miss.
So let's start this whole thing off. Overall impressions of the game. How do we all feel?
Like, are we breaking this up in categories?
We all like it?
I don't know. It's good. It's Spider-Man. I mean, it's Insomniac fighting. I mean, they have did my experience with part 1. Ironically, I technically never bought part 1. I was actually playing on a friend's account, but I never planned to play it. I mean, Spider-Man games were cool, but not something that I cared about. But the way my first love is the movement. Like they locked in and they did the movement so well in the original Spider-Man. That just continues with the Miles Morales in part 2 that we have here. I love the original Peter storyline along with the original Peter face. I think they weren't afraid to go in a direction that was different from the cinematic universe as well as their animated universe as well. They touched some ground that I didn't think they would go through. There was definitely some moments I didn't like in part 1, which was like the Mary J. walking simulator. Yeah, I mean, Insomniac does these games well. In my impression, holding up part 2, not only is it gorgeous, it is a really, really gorgeous game. And like anytime you have an open world game that remains gorgeous, like it is a special, special experience. Shout out to Ghost of Tsushima. But hey, I text chat right away because there was a moment where I did a combat situation, and then you could have a interaction option with your other Spider-Man, Miles or Peter, depending on who you're playing as. And it was your Spider-Man 2 moment. It was I lost my shit. Right? And I was just assured that there's so much more attention to detail to like the fan base nuances and things for people to look forward to. And I was just like, yes, like it reminds me of the care that was put into Arkham City. Like if you like Batman Arkham City and the way that they cared and nurtured the lore there and the world visits there, and you like that and you want to continue to have that kind of similar experience, get Spider-Man for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Carl.
Yeah, I was actually going to agree with you on that. Like, it feels like this new Spider-Man game, which like I overall enjoyed it, but then like whenever you play something, you have a good time with it. Sometimes you sit down and think about like some of the stuff that happened afterwards, and you're like, wait a minute, like, you might have a problem with this, and you might have a problem with that. Like maybe it's just my critic brain like going off, but it definitely feels like this Spider-Man 2 is the Arkham City of what we're going to get of, presumably the Spider-Man trilogy. And like they did an amazing job. Like it's story-wise, it is, the best Spider-Man game that we've gotten. And I've played almost all of them except for like maybe the Amazing Spider-Man movie games. And that's like the only Spider-Man games I've probably ever missed out on.
You missed nothing.
Okay, cool. But like, yeah, like definitely enjoyed the game. Definitely have like different thoughts on, some of the things that they did with the story. I like to say I'm like a couple steps down from being like a hardcore, Spider-Man fan. Like I could name like, the year and everything. Like this Spider-Man came out and what this suit means, what that suit means, but because I can't. Of all in all, I was like, yeah, like this game is amazing. And then I had like kind of some thoughts about it. And like I said, like I'm anxious to kind of get back into it, but I'm not pressed about it, which is weird because I remember like when I played the original, like the first Marvel Spider-Man, I was like, this game is amazing. Let's jump back into it. Let's do another run. Same thing with the Miles expansion. I was like, yeah, let's jump back into it. Let's do another run. In this game, I was kind of like, yo, like that was an amazing story. All right, well, let's go play something else. I'm on to the next one. So I had some thoughts, and like we'll get to them later. But overall, like I enjoyed the game for the most part, and like the pros like outweighed most of the cons for me. So,
and you, Chad, what do you think?
So, I do think the game is great. I think it's so crazy because Spider-Man 1 came out. Really good game. Phenomenal. There were some very small things, some problems with it. Everybody hates the Mary Jane stealth missions. Everybody, hates certain side missions, some of the side mission lines in there, stuff like that. Then Miles Morales came, shorter, little bite-sized Spider-Man, but a lot of the things that we hated about Spider-Man 1 were removed. They added some more stuff. The exaggerated swagger of a black teen, blah, blah, blah,
That's a deep cut. That's a deep cut.
And then Spider-Man 2 comes, the third iteration. They have almost like sanded the marble to where it's like super smooth. And I mean like, there's almost no complaints. Like it's chef's kiss. The movement, which has always been great in the Spider-Man games, is
In
10
Insomniac
times
Spider-Man games.
in Insomniac Spider-Man games. Let me be specific. In this Spider-Man trilogy that we're talking about here.
Yes.
So because of mainly because of the PS5's hardware and the SSD and all that, everything's moving so fast, zero load times once you start the game.
I haven't seen any pop-in.
Right.
I mean, in my personal experience,
So
I haven't seen any.
it's crazy, and we were going to get to like the specific parts that we really like about the game, but there's this part at the beginning when you're fighting Sandman, and
Yeah.
I believe it's Miles that gets smacked by Sandman, and he's literally like flies
Yes.
all the
Yeah.
way across the city.
Both Spider-Man can get snagged back like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's funny that you bring that up because I remember that moment and I was just wrapped up in the moment, but I wasn't thinking about it from like a game dev. That was a real like a flex. That was an actual flex that they just did in that moment.
Yeah.
So when you're in that area, like all the buildings are dilapidated, it has like the sand and all those things. They smacked Miles. It was racism so far back. So far back, he got mollywopped. All right. And it was a different part of the city where everything was clean and dusty, whatever else. And he had to swing, fly back over. Essentially, you can't fly now because we got the wing moves. We talked about that. But fly back over and seamless. No poppins, no issues, no low, no jittering, no jack, absolutely nothing.
And it's quick. And it's
super
quick. Yeah. It's insane. But yeah, the web wings that they added made the traversal that much better. So the comparisons that are going to be inescapable is the Arkham trilogy, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but that was always like even from part one. I mean, the combat system is very similar.
Yeah.
I
think it's time. I think it's time to have the take is becoming less and less hot. That this trilogy may surpass the Arkham trilogy. Who are we?
I mean, so one, what I was saying is, as I didn't want to digest it, but I think you're correct. I didn't want to digest it, but I think you're correct. Only in the sense that Arkham Island, whatever Arkham, it was just called Arkham, right? The first one.
Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum does not really compare to Spider-Man 1, right? Like we're starting in the open world thing. And then if the trilogy just doesn't do what Arkham Knight did, it wins immediately. So we're like the Arkham trilogy literally lives and dies in the city. But in my as I examine it, but what I will say is that much the same way that From Software inspired a litany of other companies, Arkham did the exact same thing. I mean, can't forget that like Shadows of Mordor or whatever else, all those games really were inspired by what Rocksteady did. It's unfortunate what's happening now with Suicide Squad, but
we don't know if it's going to be bad yet.
They actually
we don't know.
Something.
I was going to say there's new news.
They released something today.
Yeah, that it's happening bad right now. There's bad news happening now with Suicide Squad. But I just want to really, really give praise in addition to what Arkham City did. It was probably one of the first games I intentionally tried the platinum because at the time it didn't have, I don't think it had platinum features at the time, but I literally changed my PlayStation console's holiday settings. Did you know about this?
Yeah, the calendar man.
The calendar man. Oh my god, calendar man was amazing. I was changing my internal calendar on it so I can get all those interactions. But really, really good game. Really good.
Yeah, I think you hit a good point where Arkham Asylum, and again, this is not me yucking anybody's yum. Like these games are still very great.
It's just hard to acknowledge that it's been superseded. I think. I think it's
time.
Hard.
I think it's time, man.
It depends on if they're doing another Spider-Man game, which they're doing another Spider-Man game.
Absolutely.
I mean, they've already announced what's happening. Yeah,
but if they have to, like you said, they have to not Arkham Knight.
No Arkham Knight.
And I'm not gonna lie, like just kind of, I think doing the Venom thing as your second game it's kind of like blowing your load a little early.
I was going to say that because that Venom is such a huge part of the fandom. There may be more Venom fans than Peter Parker.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's it.
Like, and so to possibly not have him as a feature in part 3 is definitely. And they did the same thing, ironically, that some of the Spider-Man movies did too. Like they introduced a shit ton of villains, with only like certain focal points, of course. But when you introduce so many villains, it's like I don't know. But Arkham City did it well. Arkham City had like every villain,
But
like
and-
so.
And that's what I wanted to like get to, because Spider-Man, even though yeah, like Venom is like a big one, right? And Spider-Man is so comparable to Batman because Batman is known for having this rogue gallery of supervillains that are so intricate, most of them.
Yeah, like arguably,
Yeah,
arguably Batman and Spider-Man are the two superheroes that have the best rogue gallery.
Yeah. And I think Spider-Man still has a lot. Like, we haven't even seen Green Goblin yet, which is crazy. He's normally like the first one. Green Goblin,
It'd be nice to get a Deadpool. I think
Deadpool, Kingpin's not dead. He can come back. Doc Ock's not dead. Like, there's a lot they can still do.
But then again, like, well, like, do we want to say this about the game yet? About some of
All right, we're gonna throw the spoiler warning up. Hino broke the glass.
in case of emergency.
Spoiler warning for Spider-Man 2. Start now.
Spoiler alert. Skip to 52:47 to avoid Spider-Man 2 spoilers.
Venom did.
well, not just that either. They killed a couple other iconic guys too. Like,
They did.
Wait, who died?
Vulture's dead, Scorpion's dead, Rhino's dead. Yeah, Rhino's dead.
Oh, yeah, Rhino. Well, he was like unconfirmed dead, right?
So the Craven Hunter storyline is he's coming in and he wants to like hunt down these infamous villains, and well, not just villains, but these infamous superpowered beings. And he is like, you get to a point where you break into Craven's headquarters, and it's a trophy wall.
Right.
And
I thought it was like a hidden room or something that wasn't officially in the game or something, the way they saw that Rhino's.
no, you see it.
It's a part of the game.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
He was in part 1.
Yeah.
Right over the part.
Yeah, Rhino's dead. Scorpion is
But
dead.
it's comic books. Isn't there a way to bring everybody back? I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's,
but
it's hard to do Spider content without eventually doing the Spider-Verse stuff and the multiple timeline stuff. So I'm sure it's going to eventually come up.
Okay.
Again, it's too soon for that. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah.
Like in hindsight, it might have even been too soon for them to do the Sinister Six in the first game, because you done blown through the Sinister Six. Now you've blown through Venom and you've blown through Venom and like some of your Sinister Six members that you would traditionally get are dead. Like,
But was it too soon? I think you may be counting it as too soon, as in like if you want to stay in this world. But we can't forget that in the lieu of staying in this world, the next IP is Wolverine. So they're trying to like speed run all kinds of people's lores and things at this point, right? Because if Wolverine is successful, then who knows what could be next, right? Like they could have a whole list instead of deep diving into individual character lore.
I mean, like Wolverine's always kind of like intro to X-Men.
Yes. So like that, and so that's what I'm saying. And then after X-Men, it's the Avengers, the real. Hopefully, Square Enix don't get involved.
I like that's what I was thinking was like where they were going is like, hey, like now we're gonna have this Wolverine game, and now like we're gonna have these partner team up games where it's just like Spider-Man and Wolverine, Spider-Man and Captain America, Spider-Man and Deadpool, Spider-Man and which would have been definitely would have been interesting. But
I just
That's not where they're going with the next game.
yeah, it's like because the Marvel license is all over the place. Like EA is working on the Black Panther game, and then there's somebody else. What? What you mean? Why?
No, I feel
I
you.
just want to trust EA with it. I'm sorry. Like, why does EA got the damn?
Well, they're just publishing it. It's a
Half the game is gonna be you playing basketball.
oh my god. I
On
have
3 Black
I have-
Panther suits.
I have faith. But my point is that the licenses are all over the place, so it's going to be hard to have that interconnected universe. So I'm curious to see if that is where Insomniac goes. But yeah, while we're talking about the main story for Spider-Man 2, let's get back to a non-spoilery conversation.
Okay.
My bad.
Why do we? No, you're good. You're good. We're gonna do that, a couple of times throughout the show. So it's fine that we kind of got that out the way. As I played through the story and as I completed the story, I've had this feeling throughout the game. But it was once I completed the story is when I realized, damn, Miles kind of got done dirty in the main mission storyline. Like, this game is really not about him at all.
No, he absolutely got done dirty. Like there was times I was playing, I was like, I want to switch to Miles and do this. And it's like, no, this is a Peter part. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like, let me get through it so I could play some Miles stuff. And then like the Miles stuff, like a chunk of the Miles stuff that I did do to me was not interesting.
Yeah, and that's the thing to me. And this is no knock at Peter. Clearly, he is the OG Spider-Man. He is the quintessential Spider-Man. But I think, honestly, Miles's story, his origin, it to me is like a little more interesting than Peter Parker's. Am I fair to say that?
I think
Because he black.
I think
No,
that's interesting. I was about to say, like, I think that has to do more with like, you care like your representation more. Like that, it probably would.
That's my Spider-Man.
Yeah, like that's your Spider.
I don't. I don't.
Capacity.
I don't think so. I don't think.
No, I think no, I kind of get what you're saying, though. I mean, like, all right, like we know, like the Peter story for the most part,
Yeah.
and like like we got like this game, and we got to see how great Miles can be by himself, and like to be perfectly honest, it kind of felt like a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Like how he was dealing, like in the very beginning of the game. Are we doing? Do I need to do the spoiler thing again for the very first part of the game?
No, I think it's fair if it's within the first 5 hours.
Yeah, we talked about.
So-
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, in the very beginning, it's just like, all right, Sandman's rampaging, right?
Mhm.
And Miles like runs off to go deal with this, and he comes right back, and he's just like, hey, Peter, come here, I need your help. Like, sir, like you ate like a small supernova last game. You got that? What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that was the cool part of the second Spider-Man game, which was Miles Morales, was seeing Miles's growth in becoming a true Spider-Man, like a true partner to Peter Parker. And then you're back in this game, and it's kind of like, and I know that's by design because Miles' story was he was second guessing himself, and he was second guessing whether he could be a true successor to Peter Parker, if he could live up to Peter Parker. But to me, after playing Miles Morales and seeing his growth, it did make sense to me.
Okay. I don't have a dog in this fight because, of course, I haven't seen it all the way through. But I mean, it's definitely something I'm familiar with. I mean, they did the same thing that in Wanda in her world when we're talking about WandaVision / Mom Multiverse of Madness. But with that being said, I think with them already coming to the forefront saying that the next Spider-Man is, at least at this point in time, if nothing changes, the intention is to move forward with Miles solely. I'm okay with a send-off for Peter. Because it's not like we got a lot of Peter's personal we didn't actually, if I'm being honest, me being frank, I don't think we got a lot of Peter personal time in part one. I think what we got was the world that they were building with this one, when it came to like interactions between Doc Ock and Aunt May and things like that. And I don't think we really got to see too much of like Peter's personal struggles in that one. And everything in this one, from the setup in the very beginning, is to talk about some of Peter's more interpersonal relationships. And I'm like, cool, you want to do a send off for the OG? All right. I think one thing that could have for sure been done better, but that's all done to marketing and things. It's like, if you knew that this was going to be like a send off for Peter, maybe not market this game as a you can switch anytime kind of thing, because you cannot switch anytime, and I've already experienced that within the first 3 hours. Like,
so I mean, you can, as long as you're not in one of those story missions. But yeah, that story, the main storyline, is pretty much Peter's story. But now, to be fair, because I'm not bashing, again, like Spider-Man 2 is phenomenal. Not saying it's not. There is some Miles Morales stuff, but it's been relegated to the side missions. Like, there's some interesting kind of growth, and we learn a lot about Miles in some of those side mission arcs, specifically the Mysterium arc, which we'll get in depth a little more later. But it just feels kind of bad to me that that's stuff that a lot of players might not see because it's in the side stuff. But then again, like we talked about this off camera, Insomniac games, especially during the PS5 generation, they're one of the easiest games to platinum. And I think the Insomniac games on the PS5 are probably the most platinumed. I don't have the stat in front of me. So
I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Insomniac is probably in their head like they're going to play the side missions. So I think it's safe to put that stuff here, knowing that majority of the people who play this game are going to see that stuff.
I want to say, like, because like we're saying, like this, we're kind of saying this might be a send off for Peter for the next game, and the next game is going to like circle around Miles, but I don't think that's the case either. I mean, like, I think we're going to kind of have like a Batman Beyond thing going on, where like, like Peter's like, kind of relegated to like the guy in the chairs. Like, yeah, like, I'll give you intel from here and I'll give you tips and stuff from here. Plus, I'll save that for later too. I don't want to. I want to throw it out there, but it's not going to be just Miles's game. It's not going to just be Miles's game the next game either.
I mean, just going by what they said, like they just said that they want to, that for them they said that it makes sense for them to lean in a mouse focused direction in the future. And so I can only go by what the devs say. I mean,
well, see, the devs, like, all right, and y'all can tell me if I'm wrong with this. They lied anyway. Because they was like, yeah, Venom is not who you think it's going to be. And we were like,
yeah, it is.
I mean, you sure about that? People thought it was going to be Eddie Brock.
No.
There's no Eddie Brock in the universe.
Yeah, no, everybody thought it was going to be...
Yeah. They teased it at the end of Spider-Man 1, who it was going to be.
And then it was like, yeah, it's not who you think, though. And we're just like...
What? Yes.
Unless you think that we think that it's Eddie Brock, and if that's the case,
that's what I believe they thought. Like they believe. I mean, because that's the quintessential Venom.
Yeah,
if that's what they think that we thought. I guess I overestimated their intelligence.
Yeah, because like there's no Eddie Brock in the universe. There is a Flash, even though we never see him. He's just referenced in some of the voice acting.
Not even just that, technically, if you are.
Yeah.
Which we will also get to.
This game got a lot to it. Oh, God.
Yeah, right. Great. But, so I just pulled...
I see what I'm doing after the podcast tonight. Goddamn.
So, to my prior point, I just pulled up the platinum trophy for Spider-Man 2, And as of recording, 20% of the people who played Spider-Man 2 have platinumed it. That's a high percentage.
Yeah, that's a high percent, especially because it really just launched.
Yeah.
I had somebody hit me up that got the game after me, and I was like taking my time playing it. I like they just didn't have much of they don't have anything to do but play games from time to time. And yeah, like they hit me maybe 2 or 3 days later after they got it. I was like, yeah, I platinumed it.
But just for my personal reference, on a side note, completely unrelated, Chap, I just want you to give me this data. I give y'all some Spider-Man data.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of God of War Ragnarok platinum completion? Because I'm in that number and I just want to know.
Okay, let me pull it up real quick.
Oh,
My
how
accolades.
So here's a trivia question for you two, without using Google. How long has Miles Morales been canon in the universe? When was Miles Morales created? How long ago?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
And I actually think that has multiple answers.
According to Google, it's only one.
Like his first time popping up in the comics?
Yeah, just how long has he
like
been a character? Yeah, how long has he been a character?
I feel like
I think it's interesting because we talk about Miles a lot now. But it's like, when did he pop up?
I want to say it was definitely in the 90s. Right? Yeah, I think it was in the 90s.
I think it was before that, actually.
Really?
Yeah, like I think he they brought him up a lot, like in some of the original like Spider-Man content. I just think he was like a side character at the time, or like I can't remember everything. Like I said, not super hardcore. I just know he's been around for a long time, and then they kind of like cherry picked him out. I was like, oh, we're gonna do something with this.
So if you just Google when was Miles Morales created, right? Because I don't have y'all long comic book history. I just don't, and I'm trying to look for it. And I also phrased it 2 different ways. I say, when was he created and who created him? And both answers lead to 2011.
Damn.
2011.
Maybe
He's been around for 12 years.
He's been around longer than that. Like I can tell you, he was like in the original comic. Like they brought the name up in the original comic.
That's all we get here. And I found it interesting because I know that when I was younger, I definitely did not know of Miles. Like my favorite comic book person, I can't even find my hero, was a Silver Surfer back then. But so I didn't have representation. So it's like, or anything else. But it's like, according to this, it's like he didn't pop up until 12 years ago. And he is a staple now. Like you can't go anywhere. And I think it's well deserved and fair, for sure. But I think it's interesting, like how much presence this one character has in such according to this search, a short amount of time.
Back to your original point, 3.9% of people who played God of War Ragnarok have platinumed it.
Oh, how I'm gonna be in that number. I also platinum God of War 2004 as well. Like those games are my top tier of like top tier kind of games. I don't platinum games off. So you gotta be amazing for me to want to platinum.
Yeah, this one's, you definitely have to fight any goddamn Valkyries to platinum Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So
it definitely took some time.
It might feel like it though, like well, no, not exactly, but I know like because you're playing on a higher difficulty,
but
everything has way more health.
Yeah, I was gonna say I played part 1 in Miles Morales on the hardest difficulty as well. So jumping into this, it feels just right. It feels what I'm used to. I can maintain super long combos. Now, ironically, Arkham City in my mind combat is much harder, and it's like the same system, but it's much harder in my mind. Really? To do Arkham City's combat. I don't know. I think it has to do with the fact that
it's easier.
Batman can't close gaps as efficiently as Spider-Man can. I think that is part of my...
In Arkham, the places where you were fighting were smaller.
Mm-hmm. Now,
And like,
I also didn't get to any of the superpowered villains and things that are in here yet. Like, I know there's some different breeds and brutes and things I didn't encounter yet in this one. But
I think like when you get a little bit further in, you're going to get really frustrated.
I was going to say the same thing, because like once you get further into the game, there's moves that you have to dodge. There's moves that you have to parry.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with the parry.
Yeah.
Parry's like essential later.
I love parry in fighting games. I hate it in games like this.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. Once Venom pops up, we'll revisit this.
Okay.
So let's get into like the real, like, get into the weeds. We talked about it from a general aspect. Let's really focus on the least favorite moments and missions in this game. With that being said, we're gonna throw up another spoiler warning right now, because we're gonna talk about specifically that thing that happens to Mary Jane Watson.
Spoiler alert. Skip to 121:17 to avoid Spider-Man 2 spoilers.
All right.
So yeah.
Time to this white woman. What?
So after Venom,
First of all, her wig is laid in this one.
so I'm glad you said that, because
she looked good on this one.
Yeah, people didn't think that. They did not like
I
how
know,
Mary
it's
Jane
very
looked.
weird. It's very weird, but like I loaded up the game, like, oh, she looks pretty good. Like, this is a nice, well-designed female digital creature.
I just think average dwellers on the internet, specifically Twitter, their brains are broken by porn. So what they think an attractive woman is so broken. And like, I'm not saying Mary Jane in this game is like a 10, but she's not ugly. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She's
See, I got like I got kind of a different theory with that. I think like Mary Jane's always everybody kind of sees Mary Jane like as like
a bombshell.
Yeah. And she has always been, and they're like, oh well, like she looks normal in this game. And that's what their problem is. And I'm just like,
but I think it's also.
But could you pull her? No.
I think it's also interesting in the sense that a lot of the times that in lore that Mary Jane was a bombshell, she was in high school. Yeah, like, we were talking like
a little creepy.
We're older now, like some of the age. I'm not saying just creepiness. I'm just saying like literally as far as like puberty and things how it work. You look at that glam, like she's a whole adult. She been stressed out on buildings. You can't keep up your makeup and shit.
I don't know about falling off buildings. She be jumping off them.
Also,
she did jump off that damn building. She said she jumped off that damn building.
Also, she's a reporter. In this day and age, like she is like, there is no time to be fucking keeping up your makeup and all that bullshit. Like there is,
and she's poor.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's poor.
Yeah.
There's the other thing. Like, sometimes you're not ugly, you just broke. You just broke. Right? And she dating a broke ass man.
Why are you?
One thing I do love about this thing is that Peter Parker is broke. He a white man and he broke. And he is struck.
What?
What did this whole house though? What you mean?
He inherited that house that he didn't want.
He's still broke. He can't say
still had it and somehow still got it repaired. With what money, sir?
This was not supposed to turn into a read of Mary Jane Watson. We were here.
Okay, fuck up everything.
This started as defending Mary Jane Watson. Now she broke and ugly. And
I'm just saying she broke. Okay?
I just say
you can't keep up your best appearances.
I just said the internet said.
So, to the point, when Venom pops up, so Venom actually, like, the symbiote actually spreads across the city. So he's not infecting people, and they're turning into like these symbiote-covered regular enemies, like putties and stuff like that. There's a point in the game where the symbiote gets a hold of Mary Jane, and she actually turns into her own version of Venom called Scream.
I think, isn't it a canon symbiote?
I'm not sure. Yoshi, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the canon symbiote.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it is one of the most interesting boss fights in the game. So first of all, like Scream's design in the game, dope. Super dope. But the one of the reasons why the boss fight is so interesting is she is like reading Peter the entire boss fight.
About how broke he is?
About how broke he is. You did? I did it. Yes.
About how broke he is. She's like, I'm giving you just good Konami.
Yes.
No, literally, that's what she did the whole boss fight. Emasculated this man in front of his dead aunties.
Literally. They're like blocks away from Aunt May's house, having this boss fight in this construction area. And she's like, yeah, you so broke. You don't really love me. You're not here to support me. You always think about yourself. You're not being Spider-Man for the community. You being Spider-Man because that's the only thing that make you feel good. Like, Peter's like, damn.
Well, no, Peter's
Really real. He
God.
chooses to be broke. There's no way you can be Spider-Man and not have money.
Well, that's
Like, there are ways to do this while keeping your identity, and there are ways to do this shit. And he is just not. How you a genius and ain't figure out how to not be broke?
you want him to monetize being Spider-Man?
I mean,
Yes, motherfucker. I'm
I
fighting world wars. Like, we're beyond neighborhood talk at this point. There are fucking sand creatures destroying buildings. The fuck, like,
it's called
risking
Heroes
everything.
for Hire.
You are describing the police.
In this economy, yes. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no. How are you a genius and broke? It don't make
It
sense.
happens often.
It don't make sense.
Literally,
Not
literally,
when you can
literally,
swipe
Doc Ock took over his body and changed his whole life for the better. I was like, what was Peter doing? He asked the same question in the comics. Like,
There
what
is
were you
no
doing?
way. Like, this is a choice. This man needs actual psychological help.
So
No, this is bad writing.
So shout out to Scream. Shout out to Scream.
no,
But he hated. No, that was bullshit. What she pulled though. No, I'm not like. All right, you're right because Peter could do better, but no,
yeah.
everything she was saying, like like I've never beat a boss fight so fast in my life. I was like, what?
You got yeah.
Like I was like,
I feel,
no, and I'm like, Peter, you apologizing?
He did.
Why are you apologizing? What?
So
all into that battle, that boss fight. It was like, I'm a high value man.
Spider-Man was about to be a passport bro after that. but no. So you got to keep in mind when this happens. So this happened after Peter had the symbiote, right? So Black Suit Spider-Man happened before this happened. So Peter did do some objectively bad things while being Black Suit Spider-Man. Well, he at least
He danced.
said
He danced on the staircase.
that did not. Sam Raimi, we kept Sam Raimi far away from this game. But he did say and do some things as Black Suit Spider-Man. So
Not to her.
not to the point, like, clearly, like, he treated Harry like that, for sure, and Miles. I think he maybe just said some rude things to her over the phone.
Provoked things. He said.
Oh my!
No, like, like she was like, I gotta save my job. I'm gonna write this snuff piece about how like how like this Black Suit Spider-Man is like bullshit right now. And like how he's wrecking the city because like my boss likes it. He's reading this in the middle of like, Peter going through what he's going through at the moment, like trying to keep the suit, trying to save his friend, trying to track down the lizard to save his friend, like. And I'm just like, bro, like, she wrote this thing. He saw it. He was heated about it. Which you would be heated about it. Like if the person who knows your identity writes this thing and didn't even apologize about it and say, well, hey, like my boss needed me to write this. She was just like, it is what it is.
I'm gonna say this. I wish I was Mary Jane in that situation. And if he'd approached me talking about that shit, because I would have said, apologize these bills, man. Apologize this mortgage, this phone bill, this gas and electric.
He got an apartment. He trying to get her in the house.
And you want me to move from my apartment into your broke ass house.
And it definitely, she brings it up before she submits that story, how she needs to get on the front page or she's going to get fired. She has to submit some banger ass story to JJ or she gone.
How did she get the job?
I don't know. Probably was an intern. I don't know, man.
Yeah, she got it like there was like somewhere in between part 1 and part 2.
Mm.
I don't even know.
She got the job because she went and got herself in a whole bunch of bullshit that she shouldn't have been getting involved in because she knew that he was Peter and that he would save her.
When you fuck with broke
they weren't even working together, and then she like, hey Peter, like I saved the city too. With a little bit of intel that like you had to come in and save me or rescue me from. Like
you fuck with broke men, you get dragged into brokenness.
You fuck with toxic women, you stay exactly where you are.
Where did this turn into Kevin Samuels? Like, where did this happen? What is happening?
Peter got bad taste in women in general.
Don't all this.
I'm sorry.
I love how Batman. I love how Batman's super weakness is actually bad.
Hey, Cap.
You know what?
I would fall.
I'll say this too. I'll say this too. Maybe this is a little bit of comic bias too with me because to be perfectly honest, if you really sit down and kind of look at like Peter's love life, he has not had like. I would say like there's maybe one positive love interest he had his whole 10 years. And she left him for not telling him that he was Spider-Man when she figured it out. And I was just kind of like, okay, Amber. But, yeah.
The one person who loves him dearly is another toxic relationship. You know, there's Deadpool, Mr. Wade. They won't make it.
Look, so
Jade Soups. Stick there.
So, Carl, do you have a favorite moment or mission, or least favorite? Like, what do you want to talk about?
So I definitely enjoy like the Firestarter missions. Like they pull me in. They pull me in the most.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I was doing them, I was like, oh, like Yuri's back. Like this character's interesting. And I wanna see where this goes. And then when I didn't peg it right away. Like when you kind of see like who's the cult leader of like the Firestarters, and then like when you do realize who it is, and when they tell you like a lord of what's about to happen, which I'm guessing, like I'm hoping that means that's DLC that's coming down the line because that's going to be really interesting if it is.
Mm-hmm.
You bring that up. Is Black Cat in this one too?
Briefly.
Very briefly. See, here's my thing. I know I'm homo, so that's probably what happened. Thing. But she was one of my favorite characters, and for her to be relegated to DLC and to like brief moments here, I'm just like, give me Black Cat. Like, she was dope.
No, yeah, I think she's a pretty good character, like across like the Spider-Man mythos. Like,
and we barely have any media about this chick.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's crazy.
Was the mission you did with her was like a Miles exclusive, right?
Yes, it was. I do remember.
Wow. So no Peter
interaction.
That's crazy to me.
She does talk about Peter, but her and Peter do not interact.
Actually, to be perfectly honest, they're on bad terms.
Yeah.
The way she phrases, they're on bad terms.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember exactly what happened at the end of the Spider-Man 1 DLC, how it turned out between those two. But even then, like just for her to be DLC and it wasn't focused directly on her she was a damsel in distress kind of thing, which is not her character.
Mhm.
I'm just saying, I think it's weird. Like, I think Black Cat is a true gem as far as like character design. She can also become black though. I don't think her race is important. If I think about her history,
I would play a Black
I don't want her fucking
off
with
game if they
Yeah.
had it, which kind of does seem like they might be going that direction with more stuff that we'll talk about.
Let's go back to the flame story missions, because we were talking about that, and I think we do need to throw up another spoiler alert.
See, I hate to say it because I don't want to ruin it for Duke.
Duke said he was fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I said he was fine.
Deal with these with spoilers.
So,
want you to be surprised.
spoiler alert for the ending of the flame side missions.
Spoiler alert. Skip to 131:58 to avoid Spider-Man 2 spoilers.
Now,
Okay. I don't even know who the flame is, so don't tell
So,
me.
like-
I mean, so that was to explore, but sure.
so wait, you haven't bumped into the flame yet?
I don't know what it. Not even in. Are they part of comics? What are they?
They're a particular part of they're bad guys. They look like regular bad guys, but if you've done the street crimes where like a tanker is on fire and you have to put the tanker out.
Yes, I did. I only have one of those.
Those are the fire
that's-
stars.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the more of those you
okay.
do, the more like you get like actual like bigger missions with them. And
Mhm.
but yeah, like the big thing is like their leader
Mhm.
is Cletus Cassidy, who
That name sounds familiar. Can't remember what he does.
he is Carnage.
Oh,
And the whole part, all of the stuff that he was doing was leading up to stealing a symbiote of his own.
Which was red.
all right, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds dope.
And like
That's where
that,
the future of the series is going.
Mhm.
definitely DLC, I think.
Yeah.
Unless they do symbiotes again in the next game, which they could do that in the next game, and it could be like Web of Shadows, Spider-Man Web of Shadows, which is one of my favorite Spider-Man games of all time, even to this day. I even put it up there with these new games.
Yeah, for sure.
I have to look that one up.
Yeah, I was talking
yeah.
we were talking about that, you Duke and I, off camera, because you had brought up I don't even know why you brought it up. Like, you randomly asked me like, the
can't remember,
Activision make good licensed games, and I was like, they had that run of Spider-Man games that were really good. Web of Shadows was freaking
Shattered Dimensions.
yes, Shattered
and,
Dimensions. It was a
Ultimate Spider-Man,
Mhm.
Spider-Man Ultimate, something like that.
So the only Spider-Man game that I played through and through before this was one that was on PS1, where the city had like a yellow fog over it. A Black Cat was in it. That was dope.
That's probably
it
your
was-
first Spider-Man game, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, it was my very first Spider-Man game. I beat it in like 6 hours. My mother was mad as shit because she bought it for me for Christmas. And she was like, "You beat it like
It's good.
on
Sorry.
Christmas Eve." She let me start playing on Christmas Eve, and it was done. And she was mad as hell. She was like, "I spent $25 on this."
So, yeah. So, first of all, that was crazy to me that reveal was at the end of a side quest. 'Cause, like, to me, that was like, that's a big reveal to me. Revealing that Carnage is in this universe, and so whether he's going to
been that big.
it's. I think Carnage and Venom go hand in hand, right? For obvious reasons.
In this world, does the symbiotes have personality in this universe though? Are they
So I mean, so far, like we don't know in this universe. Like Carnage has always been like the one that's like, yeah, like I got this symbiote, and like the symbiote's helping me out, but I'm in control.
Mm-hmm.
Like he like you could tell he's normally the one in control. Venom and like at least like Eddie Brock of Venom, like you could kind of tell like they kind of came to a mutual agreement at one point in time, and they're like, all right, well, like we'll work together on things. It's never been like that for Carnage. Carnage has always been the more dangerous symbiote, and like if we're talking like comic wise, he's actually like a planetary threat at this point. But like I doubt we're going to get that far, like in like the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah,
but just
that's
having him there and having him as a side quest, like, I mean, I liked it. I liked that they put him there. I liked that it felt like it kind of came out of nowhere, and then like the fact like you're also tying in Yuri with this.
Yeah, so I do like it. I just thought it was a crazy gamble to put Tim in a side quest like that. And also, he is going to be in a universe where Venom is not, him and Venom are not going to coexist. Right?
No.
Is that not crazy? Has that happened in the comics where like there is a Carnage and there is no Venom?
Like Venom's gone through a lot of different, incarnations. It's been on a bunch of different people. Like people have found ways to bring him back, like when you think he's been completely like decimated and gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, they already took away one of his weaknesses in this universe. They made it where symbiotes aren't weak to fire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then like we also don't know if it's more stuff like I don't really want to like
the spoiler is up. It's still up. I haven't taken it down.
But Peter, like Peter has that anti-venom symbiote, and like we didn't see it get completely destroyed. Like we know it got pretty heavily damaged, but it's still technically a symbiote, and like it's still like they said like there's always going to be a part of it inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that also means it's going to be a part inside of Harry too. So
the comic lore of the Venoms is like once it's attached to your DNA, it's there. Like there's always a way to bring, like even Mary Jane from where y'all just told me, like she could technically always be a conduit for Scream going forward,
which will be interesting too.
I just assumed that was a plot device so that no matter what suit you're in, you can still do symbiote moves. But it's canon.
No, I mean it's also canon.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like anti-venom is, canon.
Yeah. It's not, it's also, it's canon symbiote that gets taken out multiple. It's crazy, but yeah.
All right, so let's talk about while we're on side quest. Well, Duke, I didn't really ask you. Do you have? I know you're early. I
don't have nothing to say right now. I am just enjoying. So the thing is that I sometimes with these games, it's on the Spider-Man. Sometimes I don't even log in to play. I just want to swing. It is therapeutic as hell. I can't do it right now because like my back is turned and like my controls are actually backwards.
I have a question.
Just waiting at max momentum, doing tricks, it feels good. It feels great.
Have you played around with the feature? Yeah, have you played around with the feature where more realistic web slinging? Because there's a feature like you could turn on where like you could turn up how realistic your web slinging is.
Die? Oh no!
Well, that's fall damage. That's fall damage. Yeah, like there. Yeah, there's a weird one. Like this is actually saying like where his web sling, like you have to actually like hit it on certain timings, and then like depending on where you are, like it's going to stick to this building, so you could kind of always swing in this direction.
I don't play around with it. I will say that that's going to probably be interesting because I'm not that great at like positions and things. Thank God we can just go through trees as this. Yeah,
I just thought it was something that they didn't have to put in the game that they did, which was
they
really
didn't.
Cool. Like a lot of people not gonna play.
I do question. I haven't seen it yet, but I hope it's there. And I wish they would add more. That was the one thing I was missing in Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. It's just more traversal challenges. I enjoyed those a lot.
So,
is there traversal challenges in this one?
Yeah.
The like tracking down those vultures, right?
That's what I was going to bring up. Yeah, there's vulture drones that work for Kraven the Hunter, and you're trying to find out. Each one holds data to something that he's doing on the side.
You gotta Superman 64 them joints.
Basically. So you gotta glide behind them. They create this like wind tunnel in their kind of like draft, and as long as you stay close behind them, you can follow them and like kind of fly. But they're also dropping obstacles behind them, so you have to kind of like dodge the obstacles as you're staying behind them and collecting the data. So it is there, and I do enjoy those. Like that never got old to me. So they're there.
Okay. All right.
But I want to talk about Mysterio.
He's in this one?
He is in this one.
They've been playing with Fishbowl. They've been playing with Fishbowl.
Because
It's been like Fishbowl, I don't know, like different incarnations of them. They've been through some shit.
this one's cool.
Like, is he a serious villain or not?
This interpretation of Beck is pretty well. When he's Beck, a little lame. But when he finally puts on the fishbowl and becomes Mysterio, I think visually is one of the coolest designs I think I've ever seen. Like one of the coolest interpretations of him.
Okay.
But the reason I bring the Mysterio up in Spider-Man 2 is his side quests, to me, might be the most fun I've had with side quests in the game. Because his side quests are like straight up just like arcade challenges, but they take the Mysterio like trend of like everything's like almost like Inception. So it's like buildings popping up out the side, and it's like freaking birds flying upside down, and like it's all weird and
Scarecrow levels.
yes,
Did they do Doctor Strange?
huh?
Is it like Doctor Strange?
Visually, yeah.
When the Dreamscape?
Visually, yeah.
Ooh.
They're
Because
good.
you know my light sync. That's gonna love that. My light-
I
my
think
light
it's
sync
cool too. Like
love
I
that.
haven't finished the side quest, but I've done a couple of them.
Mhm.
But I think it's cool too that they're Miles quests.
Yes.
So they kind of set it up like Mysterio is going to be Miles's villain,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm like. That's a good switch up there having
That
like
is
that. Be a villain being synonymous with Miles.
Yeah. And the cool part about these is like everything else, all the other missions, once you beat them, they're gone. The Mysterio missions stay up because they're like these arcadey beat all the bad guys within a certain amount of time, or do this within a certain amount of time. So they're kind of like really they scratch my kind of like Devil May Cry itch, in the sense of like I can play this over and over
You
and over
have a
again.
Devil May Cry itch?
Well, not necessarily Devil
You
May
have a
Cry.
Devil May Cry?
I do like those. I do like action games like that, like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta. I'm obviously not as big of a fan as you,
Huh.
but I do like that gameplay loop. And these Mysterium levels do kind of like mimic that, where you want to replay them to beat your time, because the faster you go, like the more hero tokens you unlock, which you use to unlock suits. But it's
Okay.
yeah, it's super arcadey. I really love them, and they don't disappear once you beat them. Super dope.
Fair. All right. Can you go back and challenge them as Peter, I guess? If you
No.
wanted to.
Every time you go to the gate, it tells you to switch to
Damn.
Miles. Yeah,
Damn, so no symbiote powers.
but I mean the Venom stuff is dope too. So honestly, can we talk about that? Who do we prefer?
Like power wise,
Like playing as them? Like yeah, within combat, because I think that is the one place where they both are different, is the
They
combat.
differ enough. Yeah.
I'm Miles. I like playing Miles more.
So I felt like that until Peter got the symbiote powers. And now I'm kind of like, because like, to me, like Miles sometimes feels like he's OP, especially when he's just fighting a crowd of dummies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that. I get what you're saying. And like it did feel like it was like, oh, okay, well now Peter has his power. So
Yeah.
I guess they're on the same level now.
So I don't know. It was,
Yes, it's kind of. Peter
Miles replaced his power fist with chain lightning. I was like, yes.
yeah.
Yes. I am. Why would I ever use power fist again? Why would I ever do that?
The chain lightning.
Yeah,
the-
like punches obsolete.
It was like, use the force. This motherfucker is in Star Wars. He is Emperor Palpatine.
The one
I loved it.
I was fighting some of the boss fights with Miles, and I was like, unlimited power.
it's so like it'll be sometimes I'm just holding L1, I'm just going through all the face buttons. Like I'm just doing all just
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They look great. My favorite thing is using the grouping tool. Using the grouping tool and then choosing which route I want to go after that.
yeah, I underestimated how important gadgets were until I started like leveling them up.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I ran that game with almost zero gadget usage.
What?
I
Did not
that's
like any of the gadgets except for like
Why?
the one little bomb you get at the end.
The Sonic thing that
So-
yeah.
I think in comparison sake, it's not too different than Arkham City, but for some reason I feel like the user interface and gadget interface is much better in this one.
Yes.
And it makes it easier to access like your different skills and different features. And so that's why I play around with it more. And that's probably what made Arkham City a little bit more difficult in my opinion. Because I played through Arkham City barely ever using gadgets. Like your quick gadget feature, like never touched it.
I think I'm like that in general too, because like I in Batman games I didn't really use a lot of the gadgets either, except for like the grapple for that one little takedown.
And that's how I played through Spider-Man 1. But in Spider-Man 2, I really like the gadgets in Spider-Man 2. I'm sorry, not Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales. That's where I'm sorry. In Miles Morales, I really like the gadgets in there. And to be honest, I didn't think that as a base model, I didn't feel like Miles had enough diversity in his abilities in Miles Morales standalone before you start using gadgets. And so when I loaded this one up, put it on the hardest difficulty, and saw my, the two gadgets you get pretty much straight from jump, I was like, yes, like everything is easy, even on the hardest difficulty. So that's what I'm enjoying. Love it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I played the Arkham games, but I could definitely attest that Spider-Man 1, the gadgets, you had to kind of pull up a weapon wheel, and it froze time, and kind of froze momentum.
Yeah.
And this one is just, you hold R1 and press one of the face buttons, and yeah.
And you're there. She limited your options in comparison, but I think the limited is good. I think the limited is good.
If you like the gadgets.
If you like the cat, which I don't
feel like they have great setups. They have really, so I haven't played with all of them. I only have 13% through the game.
Yeah.
But the grouping
Yeah, the whatever it was
is
called.
amazing. Yeah, and then the other one you get a free pop-up on the enemies around you. And if you combine that with the fact that one of your skills, at least for Miles, is a AoE pop-up as well, you get 2 AoE pop-ups like back to back, and then depending on how well you are, it can come back immediately. It's great. It's great. Like, use it. Like chain lightning group up enemies is my thing. Like I group all of you up in chain lightning. It's happy. I'm happy.
So I don't want to mess it up. See, I keep feeling like I don't want to mess it up for you later down the line. Because like Miles gets that power too. Miles has a power where he
Miles has a chain lightning. That's what I'm saying. Miles
No, I'm saying he has a power that pulls everybody to him.
So you know what that means? That means that I have 2 of them in a combo flow now, because all of these things are cooldowns. So I'm going to be happy still. So if Miles has his own version of it, the same way Miles already has his own version of the AoE pop-up, that means that within the combo, I can do it twice.
I'm gonna need you to make a combo video there, because it just sounds like whatever combos you cooking up over there.
If you get the 100, like we gotta see it.
Like intricate.
My highest so far is 86.
Let's put it on 100. We're gonna put it on the channel.
I want to see it because
I got 100 in Miles Morales and Spider-Man 1. I got that.
Hell yeah.
I fucked up on this one, and the enemies died too. But
I know I was getting them in the last game, but again, like I wasn't really like
you weren't trying.
Yeah, I wasn't like using tools. Like there was like one tool I liked in the last game, and that was like the remote, like the remote bomb where like you walk across the thing and it smacks them together. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, you two are back to back, and I'll hit you with one, and cool, I'll have to fight you two. I can fight the rest of these guys over here.
while we're talking about as far as base moves, my favorite thing is the swing kick. Like, I just love doing the swing kick on motherfuckers. And then when you get the upgrade and you tap square again, you can pull them back in for an air pop up. Oh, great.
No, that's hella fun. That's hella funny, especially like when it's like somebody that's kind of annoying that's getting on your nerves. Somebody that like keeps like
I will swing kick a motherfucker over and over again. I love it. And
I'll swing kick you off the building and go about my business because I know you're not coming back.
and then same. I've done it multiple times. Get out of here.
Let's throw the spoiler warning back up, baby.
Okay. All right.
Because we have to talk about this particular mission called Anything Can Be Broken.
Spoiler alert. Skip to 154:20 to avoid Spider-Man 2 spoilers.
That
sounds depressing.
It is
That
depressing.
sounds so depressing. Goddamn.
So it is. So I forget the setup. I think Miles is trapped in Craven's base, and Black Suit Peter happens to be there, and they both bump into each other. And then a boss fight ensues where you are Miles and you have to fight Black Suit Peter.
Well, the funny thing is, I said a long time ago, even on here, I thought that was going to be the final battle. It's Miles versus Black Suit Peter.
I knew it was coming sometime. It had to come at some point.
Yeah.
I like that. That was going to kind of be
saw those
like
trailers.
the passing of the
The
torch.
moment he not kicked that and you had it was like, that's too egregious.
Arguably, it was like one of the best boss fights like in the game. Like you really like you, especially because like I'm like, yes, I get to play as Miles and I'm beating Peter's ass right now, like to get this suit off of him. Like, yes. One of the things like y'all know, like my anime brain is always kicking in. One of the things that I noticed like off top, and like a lot of people mentioned it later, was like there was a couple of little anime references to like iconic moments, because there was one that literally is kind of if you guys watch Dragon Ball Super, it was kind of Goku's little grinding Kamehameha that he did over a move and just blasted like this. What was it, like Kefla or something like that? They kind of like ran that back for this game where like Miles like kind of like just barely dodges like this symbiote tendril and just blasts Peter, and I'm like, I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, that's really familiar.
It's crazy in the moment in the story where you're playing as Miles, because in this short time, like Miles has this weird roller coaster of emotion in a span of 20 minutes. Because before that boss fight, he bumps into Mr. Negative. For those who didn't, for those who didn't play Miles Morales the second game, Mr. Negative
actually happened in part 1.
Yeah, that was the first game.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, you're right. It happened at the end of part 1 where Mr. Negative kills.
Not the end, the middle. But yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was
the climax, the middle. It was the middle of the game.
Mr. Negative killed Miles' daddy.
Yeah.
So,
and he did it the way that like Black Panther father died in the movie. He like blew up a building kind of thing.
yeah, it just happened to happen. So he not only does Miles bump into Mr. Negative, but basically like Craven has this fight club going on. And Craven has a fight club going on, and Miles gets pit against Mr. Negative. So now he has this reason to kill this asshole. And all throughout the fight, he's like screaming all this negative, angry stuff at him. And we don't need to go into that. But the reason I bring that up is like now he's fighting Black Suit Peter, and he completely swaps during the boss fight. So now he's like pleading to Peter to stop the fight, to take off the symbiote. And it's just this weird character arc that he takes in this very, very, very short amount of time, because again, the main story is not about Miles. And
It would have hit so much harder
yeah,
if we spent a little bit more time with Miles. And like part of like this whole game was supposed to be like, yeah, like Miles is proving his worth as a Spider-Man, which to me he already did in the other game, but that's what they were trying to fit into this little span of like you said, like 20, 30 minutes, something like that, that these missions kind of span. And like, like if you're a Miles fan, you're like, yeah, like, I'm enjoying this. But like when you sit back and think about it later, it's just like, man, you tried to shoehorn this in, like you could have linked this a little bit longer and flesh this out a little bit more. Like, Miles could have had like a few more character moments. Like it, it was kind of weird and kind of jarring when you think about it.
So there's no moment
the
where
fact.
Miles is talking and like legit. So it's funny you bring that up because in the beginning there's a moment where Miles is trying to sulk and Peter stops her from it. But like there should be like a moment, especially with it saying anything can be broken. Like their friendship should be broken, like and not easily repaired. You know what I mean? From this, but it just gets written like, oh, this black suit. Spider-Man.
And we talked about it. Like we talked about it, right? Like we said a little bit earlier. I said a little bit earlier. Peter owes Miles an apology, and it never came.
Yeah.
It never came. He's just like, hey, you're Spider-Man, cool, and me too.
He literally, Miles forgives the killer of his father, and then moments later has to deal with this thing with Black Suit Peter. It's crazy. Yeah, I wish.
Oh, I think that's one of the things where it's not. It's bad writing, and it's bad writing when it's a black character, and which I'm used to. But I mean, bad writing happens in general. But I think it stings a little bit more because a lot of us care about Miles, and it ain't right. It ain't right.
And that's my thing when I bring up like how they did Miles in the beginning, and me saying that Miles is a more interesting character is that within that game that he had, I think he has that a more emotional range. And this is not me knocking Peter, because Peter, obviously in Spider-Man 1, we see like the death of Aunt May. We see like a bunch of stuff. Like Peter does have this crazy range.
He had his character, like his crazy character arcs in the first game.
But I just think Miles has more.
It was really only that one thing, though. That's what I say. It was really just that, which happened at the very end.
Well,
I mean, I'm sorry, two things. It was the struggle of Dr. Ock, like his mentor being the actual, villain. He didn't know how to deal with that, and then Aunt May's that. But those are like the only two things that stand out, and I think Miles living it, like literally just having the idea that like you have a quote unquote person you're learning under who also turns out to be a villain at some point. You're also younger than Peter. In this universe, Peter has been Spider-Man for a couple of years now. So theoretically, he should have some shit together, not being broke. But Miles is really younger and doesn't have it, all this figured out. So that does make him more interesting in that capacity.
Yeah, I mean, like
he has more.
Yeah,
more relationships at risk.
To your point,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like they like what Miles is definitely like. It should have been a better and stronger character.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even though like they tried to say, hey, like, I think we're maybe like that. This was something that they sat down and talked about. They were like, hey, like we want to have Miles go through this, and this, but at the same time, he just had a game. So like, we're going to make sure like this is maybe more about Peter, and like you're still more concerned about like at least I guess the three of us anyway are more concerned about Miles and what he's going through than what Peter's going through, even though he was like maybe like we with Peter maybe like 70, 75, maybe even 80% of the game.
So how is Miles written in the post game? Did his attitude change at all? Because I would be able to live with it if his attitude changed. But if he was still happy-go-lucky Miles,
his attitude
100% of the time,
his attitude didn't change, but he kind of had. You know what? To be perfectly honest, he kind of had that. You said you just watched Across the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah.
He kind of had that same mentality like after he met up with like the all his Spider-Man, and he's like, yo, I know I belong here. Like, I know I'm that guy. I'm him.
Okay.
Hey yo, I'ma do me. Is that what he said?
I mean, like, kind of, yeah. Like, and like Peter was like, cool, I got your back. Like Peter literally says, like, I'm gonna take a step back. It's your time.
There's a moment.
It's not.
The Ayo I'ma do me almost literally happens in the final mission. So there's a suit, a controversial suit that Miles has to change into for the final mission, and it is
Is it the right power suit? What is going on?
It is objectively ugly. It is very ugly. It is.
All right, so I guess I don't know. I guess I don't have any style because I thought it was cool.
Well, okay.
I got what they were trying to do with it, and it made sense to me. And I was like, oh, cool.
I'm getting nervous. I don't
rocked
know
the
what's
suit
happening. I'm
for-
getting nervous. And I gotta be clear, I only trust Champ's aesthetic over yours. But I'm getting nervous.
I mean, Champ is the better dresser. I can.
Yo, I did not want this. I did not want this conversation to turn into this. I did not. But
Fashionista.
so the not just from like a fashion standpoint. So the whole point of the Spider-Man costumes, the Spider-Man suits, is I'm covered from head to toe. You have no idea who I am. You don't know what race I am. You don't even know if I'm an alien or not. You don't know. So this final suit, this was Miles basically coming out saying like, look, I designed this from head to toe because I needed something to say, this is who I am. Why would you want something to say who you are while also hiding your identity is beyond me. And the dumbest part is that, so Miles has this very iconic hairstyle.
Yes.
It's probably like 3 people in that scene. It doesn't, because he cut the top off. The hair sticks out of the uniform. So now he's probably one of 4 people in New York City that has that goddamn hairstyle.
I mean, arguably, if you think about it, it's gonna be more people.
I was gonna say, yeah. So, the suit itself might be ugly, but one thing, as someone who just watched Across the Spider-Verse, in the very beginning, there's a moment where he has his mask up and he's like eating something at the bodega. I don't remember. And immediately what stood out to me was just like, yo, this is his black skin under this mask. Like, they can fucking see that this Spider-Man is black. And that's not a commentary on the movie, but just the fact that, like, I feel that is important just in the conversation of representation. So it's like with him having a suit, there's plenty of fucking heroes that have always had like their hair exposed, and like it's just a fucking thing. And everyone knows Bruce Wayne is fucking Batman. At this point, you just don't say it because you don't want to get your ass beat. But like,
Will magically fall off.
I think that's fine. I hope the suit would look better, but I think it's fine to have his hair showcased, and it can inspire younger generations to also stop wearing the hairstyle. So he can still have like his own army of like incognito. But
do you have
was that the big thing that everybody was mad about? Was the hair thing the biggest thing?
No, I think it was the fact that it was ugly.
Okay.
Do you have a way to Google while you're here?
I can
Google Miles Morales Adidas suit, and I think that'll make it pop up.
Oh,
because that was the other thing. Because it turned out to be like a marketing.
Another random fact. Back in the day, LGBTQ racist systems, whenever you want to go to the bar, they had a clause that there was no Adidas, since black people predominantly wore Adidas.
Wow.
That was a thing. All right.
Yeah, I
think I might be saying it.
I confirm. Miles Morales Adidas suit, it pops up.
This is ugly.
Is red and like light blue. And
Can I be honest?
what?
And I can say this, I guess, because I'm part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like it was designed by a non.
Aldo.
Case closed.
I don't know. All right. Like I said, it's me. It's not my favorite suit in the game. I just didn't have a problem with it. I was like, oh, okay, and I rocked it for the end of the all the way to the end of the game. I didn't go back to my suit that I was wearing before.
And then, like, you get forced to wear it. You have to wear it in the final mission. But the thing is like, there are missions where you play as Peter Parker and you have to wear the symbiote suit. There is a story reason why he has to be in the symbiote suit. Why is there why do you
This
have
is
to
Miles
be...
coming out. This is his official suit, I guess. It's his official.
I hope it's
His
not.
official suit. But I gotta be honest, you know. And see, the thing is that there's ways to critique the community without being quote unquote homophobic and all this other stuff. And you gotta admit they have an aesthetic, and this is definitely designed by Zer and they and Zizans, and this is giving me Zizans. This is not designed by the exaggerated swagger of a black teen. It's just not. It's not. This is
Matched
someone.
the Adidas, bro.
He just wanted to...
This is designed by someone named Stacy with an I, and
He just had the kicks, and he was like, I want to wear these really bad.
These I got.
you know.
Oh, like I said,
I'm not mad at the shoes. The shoes are about the one part that's maybe okay about it.
I mean, all right. So wait a minute. What was y'all default Spider-Man costume anyway?
I think the thing I'm mad at the most is the mask.
Yeah, the mask.
Like, I feel like I could try to figure out a way. The aqua blue situation that's happened, that's got to go. But I feel like there's a
that's
but
supposed to be the
mask
lightning
is
coming
really
on
what's
the
killing me.
spider, yo.
The mask is what's really killing me. This looks like, you know what this looks like? A spider that I want to kill. This looks like something that showed up into my house uninvited.
That's a good question. The suit for Miles, it was the Wakanda suit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I defaulted to that, and I unlocked the colors, and I changed it black, so he literally looks like Black Panther, just walking around.
And
All right, cool.
I normally stick with like
I didn't find the.
it has to be a
so
hooded suit
you gotta-
for me. Like anyone that
Hoodie.
like involves like
Any
a
other
hoodie
hoodie? Okay.
or a hood up. Like I think like the one I normally go with was I
That's
think it was
part
the
of his iconic
Spider-Man
look.
DN.
Yeah. I think that's for me, the hood is part of his iconic look. But I can also understand, because at this point we've reached a point where with more and more black characters being in superhero shows or whatever else, the hoodie is like all of their thing. So I'm okay with him running his hair out. I just don't
I'm saying,
understand.
you see your boy Hino in the spider suit. I'm gonna have a flight jacket with the hoodie underneath coming up over.
If you show up to any event that I'm at,
I'm taking it back to 2000, baby.
Okay, we're running over time. We do have one thing. We got to talk about this one thing. I think we've talked about the whole game. We have not talked about Venom. We have to talk about Venom. Let's. He's just some guy. Who cares? So there's.
Spoiler alert. Skip to 2:11:48 to avoid Spider-Man 2 spoilers.
There's two
I
missions.
can't wait for my lights to turn all black. For some reason.
Let's combine this because I was going to break it up. So there's two particular times with Venom that I wanted to talk about. There's a mission called "Don't Be Scared." That's when Harry legit turns into Venom, and you play as Venom.
And you play them, yep.
It's the only time you
That
play.
showed up in TikTok. I'm not spoiled about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's dope,
It showed
though.
up on TikTok. Yeah.
I guess I should have put a spoiler on it.
Yeah, I saw a black streamer's reaction to that moment.
Yeah.
Because it was hilarious. I don't remember their name. I wish we could down pinpoint or whatever. But They was watching it like it was a cutscene. They was like, "Oh, this boy about to go off. He about to go off. He about to. Oh, I'm about to go off." He was like, I can't play this. But yeah,
Yeah, like that
and then
Venom segment. If that's like what we're supposed to be getting, like when we get this Venom game that they're talking about, which now that I think about it, they said that they're trying to do a Venom game. So symbiote can't be all gone, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine somebody else is gonna have the symbiote. They're probably gonna.
Flash.
That's what I was about to say.
It could only be Flash, because like in fact, like when Harry first shows up using the symbiote, he has Flash Thompson's version of the suit on, because that was Flash Thompson's Venom suit when he did his time as Venom.
So
he was like a space pirate and
I never
all
even
that.
knew about this lore. This is crazy. I never knew the Flash had the symbiote.
Flash Thompson was Venom, and like he was Venom on Earth for a little. He was a government agent in the symbiote, and then he left Earth and was rolling with the Guardians of the Galaxy for a minute, and like he was like space pirate Venom.
now, to be clear, like now it just occurred in my mind that freaking spoiler again. I'm gonna have to throw it up in the beginning when we talked about
This motherfucker dressed up like the Punisher.
Yeah.
Just
Harry's not dead. He's just in a coma.
Yeah.
So he could very
No.
well wake up and return as Venom.
or
he's getting
could
up.
he finally return as the son of the Green Goblin? I don't.
The Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a ton of goblins. What's too so?
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it could go either way. I definitely am curious because, like, even at the end of the game, we're hopping all over the place. But at the end of the game, they still didn't. I was expecting them to flat out tease Green Goblin.
I mean, didn't they?
I mean, kinda, but like not. I wanted it more definitive. Like,
He's here.
yes, and we didn't really get that. Like Doc, I think. So it did sound like Norman was asking Doc Ock to create the serum, which turns him into Green Goblin. But it's like, unless you knew what the serum was, and he did start wearing green, so I guess.
Okay.
But I don't know.
More of a nod as opposed to official.
Yeah, I want.
Yeah, I mean that's one of those things
It's
where
like-
it's like they didn't want to lock themselves into a corner.
Yeah, they hit us with a
over
"It's
there.
coming?"
Yeah.
question mark.
Okay, fair. I get it.
Like, I mean, we're definitely getting like a Green Goblin next, because they're running low on villains anyway. So like, we're getting some type of goblin next game.
Yeah.
Maybe all of them. I don't know.
Can I just say that I was mad when Craven showed up in the very beginning, and his intro was him killing somebody. I was like, his model looked better than Craven. Why you had to kill him? He looked better aesthetically. Was mad. Like,
So the ending, the final. So we talked about one post-credit scene where Norman is seen talking to Doc Ock. They talk about creating the serum. Blah 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 blah. There's a second post-credit scene.
they did an extra Marvel thing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they literally pulled
And,
a marble.
this kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Oh, really?
A little bit.
Okay, let's say it first. Then I want to hear what your critique is. So it's teased throughout the game that like Miles's mom is trying to date again, and she has this person that. So you've seen that part.
Yeah, I saw that she was trying to date, and she wants him to meet Miles, and Miles kind of like blew it off.
Yes. So at the end of the second post-credit scene, she's finally about to introduce Miles to the dude. The guy comes to the door. I forget his name, but he then brings. Yes. He then brings his daughter and introduces her. You don't see her face, but he says her name. And it's important because this is the person who eventually becomes Silk, which is another female.
Another female slider. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we might be. I wasn't pissed, but I was curious about the. Let me hear why you were pissed.
So, I wouldn't say pissed. Like, I was like, when I originally saw it, I was like, oh shit, they introduced Cindy Moon.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, so like Silk. And then I was like, so that means like the next game's not going to be all Miles' game. We're going to be switching back and forth between Miles and Cindy Moon.
Well, I think that's. I don't want to say that's a safe assumption because we don't.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know how they want to go about gameplay development.
You're absolutely right about that. And like, but like, my brain is like, my brain went like this. It's like, all right, we got, and this is my initial thoughts. Like when I saw it, I was like, all right, Spider-Man 2, Better Together, Peter, Miles. Whenever we get to Spider-Man 3, it's going to be Miles, Cindy, and then like the return of Peter to help, like, whatever, like Big Boss winds up being like the big final villain. So it's going to be all three of these spider people, like, working together in the end. Not co-op, no co-op.
Well, it's got to. That's the only way. Well, I don't want to say the only way, but that's how you make it. You just got to keep adding spider people.
You don't. And like, don't get me wrong, I like a lot of my spider people. I like a lot of my spider people. I like the Cindy Moon character. I just wanted a full Miles game.
They gonna tell you was just like, nah. They like, say you got it. That interim game was it.
So for me, I was curious because like we live in an age where Gwen Stacy is like, she's so popular.
Only because of the animated movie.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, there's a lot of other properties that push her.
Yeah.
And it was just weird to me that they went with Silk before Ghost Spider.
I mean, it might not be Silk. It might be Cindy Moon as Ghost Spider.
You're right. We don't know. Insomniac has been taking like some
extreme
liberties with
and to be really real, I do like them. I do like the liberties, like, because it's a different Spider-Man and it's a different universe. Like, because we've seen all these other Spider Universe movies. Like, in fact, I would argue the Spider-Man multiverse maybe is the better one that's out there right now.
The truth is, she could be both. It could be like an alter ego thing, like if some, like, she starts off as one and then like she gets a little bit more learned and she's no longer rogue, so then she becomes different. Kind of thing. But they got liberties on liberties.
But yeah, I'm excited for the future. The game's great.
It is a good.
Yeah, it's
great. Pretty. It is so pretty. Get yourself an OLED if you can afford it. It's worth it. It's so worth it.
No, I'm like Peter Parker. I'm poor like Peter Parker. I can't.
You choose to be poor. There's no way. Let Doc Ock control your body.
He'll optimize. You optimize your life.
Where can they find you?
In the streets, babe. Nah. Yeah, like for the most part, youtube.com/Hinokaga. I got some content there. I'm working on some stuff that I just haven't got off the ground yet, but like you're gonna see a lot more reviews coming there. I want to say early 2014. So like anime reviews, as well as like maybe movie reviews as well, and we'll talk game stuff and fight game stuff too.
Okay.
Also twitch.tv/Hinokaga as well. Every Tuesday and Thursday we're streaming. So definitely come by. There's always a bunch of hijinks going on. Somebody's getting mad at somebody, calling somebody a bitch or something. It's always something's going on. It's fun. We like it. It's fun.
Where did we go?
What
is the conversation I just told y'all about before the podcast started?
Yeah, I'm on what's that thing called? Twitter, whatever. Hinokaga7. I just post anime stuff there, so come by, check me out. Let's talk about some stuff. It'll be fun. Let's argue. I like the suit.
that community does need support. Um, you can find me here. All episodes of Game Click located on the Black Power Media channel. Social media is Duke_of_games. You can find me on most relevant things there. Be careful what you find. But, you know, keep it between you and God. But that's where you may find me. And pretty soon, as soon as I get settled, because I am moving from this location, I'm going to try to have a very similar setup to what you see behind me, but I'll be moving from this location the start of next year. And I plan to be hosting the finals tournament. So if you want to see me in person, get your game up. Know how to shoot.
You can find me on all social media, and my gamer tags too on Xbox and PS5 are CharmCityChamp. And
He's not going to add you.
unless you're on the, I mean, I don't know. I don't play too many.
Just say your friends list is full. That's all you have to do.
To be fair, I don't play too many multiplayer games. Unless you want to get down on some Mario Wonder, then I will play with you.
That sounds like a pedophile.
It's everything for like you want to play Mario Wonder?
If
We got candy and cookies too.
I will take care of you. Is all I'm gonna
I
say.
love you.
and except for TikTok, because I was too late to the game on TikTok. So I'm CharmCityChamp 1 on TikTok. The show Game Click, if you're more interested about that than me, you can find that on most social media at Real Game Click. If you're watching and you're not listening, you can listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Game Click on your favorite podcast platform, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, iHeart, whatever. We're the one with the blue icon. Go ahead and subscribe to that. Leave us a review. Hit the 5 stars, hit the 3 stars, whatever you want. Just don't talk about me personally. I hate it. I can't take that. If that's too much to remember,
I hear it. I heard it just in that book.
if you can't remember all of that, that's okay, because all of that stuff is listed on our website, realgameclick.com. Go there. Real quick, easy to listen to the podcast, or you can find all of the links to our social media there. Baby, thank you for listening.
He pronounced every word so clearly right after that. That was
I'm not consciously
like every
changing
single.
anything. People.
He said the whole word.
Every syllable. Every
Yes.
syllable. That was amazing. I loved it.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching or listening, depending on whatever one you did. Hino, thank you for coming through. I don't think we would have
For having me.
Hell yeah. Duke, as always.
It's a pleasure. I hope you still like me after this.
I don't. Everybody, don't forget, man, get good, stay good, and we're out. See y'all later.
Game Click.